We're supposed to be able to choose our state representative every 2 years, but that's not how it really works for some of us. Those of us who live in safe districts, whether they're Republican districts like here in Western Greene County or Democratic districts elsewhere in the state, you might get to decide which candidate you support in a primary race. Then you're stuck with that person for the next 8 years. Republicans like to talk about running government like a business, but I own a business and I wouldn't be happy if I had an employee I couldn't fire, no matter how bad of a job they're doing. Bad legislators are easy to fire in competitive districts. It's almost impossible to get rid of them from a safe district. Because who's going to challenge the incumbent to a primary fight when you can just wait for them to hit their term limit? And what kind of a sucker runs in a safe district against the safe party? In 2018, we decided to change that. Voters passed the Clean Missouri Amendment that added the requirement that districts be drawn so that they're competitive as well as contiguous and compact. Because competitive districts are how you make sure politicians are accountable to their voters. Republicans like the old way, when no one really made them work for their votes. The idea of competitive districts scares them so much they're trying to undo the most important parts of Clean Missouri. That's why we have to go back to the polls this November and defeat Amendment 3. The folks who support Amendment 3 say that we were confused in 2018, that we didn't really understand what Clean Missouri did. I'm going to call this Exhibit A for why we needed Clean Missouri and why we need to defeat Amendment 3 this November. It's understandable if you don't recognize his face, but this is Jeff Messenger. He's the current state representative for Western Greene County. I've been fairly involved in Republic for the past several years and politics for the past 3 years, but I don't think I've seen Jeff in person more than once. He's in a safe district. Why bother working for and showing up in your district when you can rely on the letter next to your name to get you reelected? If Republicans had really thought voters were confused by Clean Missouri, they should have been out talking to voters before it passed. Jeff wasn't out talking to voters about Clean Missouri in 2018. As far as I saw, he was barely talking to voters about his own reelection. 62% of Missouri, including 60% of Western Greene County, voted for Clean Missouri. There are two possible explanations for that. Either the party that has a supermajority in the state legislature didn't try to convince voters about what they saw as the bad effects of Clean Missouri, or they tried and voters didn't believe them. Neither of those are legitimate reasons to mutilate a constitutional amendment. Holding politicians accountable is not a Democratic or Republican thing. It's what we do as Americans. And a politician who's not at least a little afraid every time an election rolls around is a politician who can't be held accountable. This November, I hope you'll agree that we need to make politicians earn their jobs every election and that you'll vote against Amendment 3. Thanks. I look forward to hearing from you.